Today on the LA Food Podcast. Ever faced the predicament of having to choose between high-end Malaysian food and a Crunchwrap Supreme? I know I have. Well, dear listener, today you don't have to choose because we've got both for you in one episode. We're joined today by Chef Johnny Lee, the mastermind behind Rasarumah, one of LA's hottest new restaurants serving inventive Southeast Asian food with a heavy Malaysian bent. Chef Johnny joins us to talk about the new concept, but also what it was like to say goodbye to his deeply personal project, Pearl River Deli. We talk Hainan chicken, the struggles of learning to be a business operator when you've mostly worked the line your entire career, and what it's been like to partner with Last Word Hospitality on his new exciting venture. Chef Johnny is extraordinarily thoughtful in discussing his food, but I also appreciated how frank, candid, and introspective he is about the challenges of working in the biz and in sharing what he's learned from his journey so far. But first, I had the distinct pleasure of attending Taco Bell's Live Más live event in Brooklyn earlier this week. This is their event in the mold of Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, in which they offer sneak peeks from the test kitchen and roll out the new menu items for the year ahead. I met up with Daniel Wargo, aka Forking Around, in the lobby of our hotel the morning after for a quick debrief. Yes, we talk about which drops we're most excited about, but we also ask ourselves what LA restaurants can learn from the Live Más lifestyle. I was honestly surprised by how much I enjoyed this event, not just the food, but really the ethos behind what Taco Bell does to innovate and to build a relationship with its fans. I think there's tons that even the most mom and pop of establishments can learn by taking a page out of the chalupa handbook, so to speak. As always, please consider leaving us a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm your host, Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, let's chow down. The LA Food Podcast is presented by The Lonely Oyster. Unwind at The Lonely Oyster's Echo Park Night Watch. Did you know that every night is industry night at The Lonely Oyster, dear listener? Stroll in after 10 p.m. nightly for a one-of-a-kind experience designed for the night owls and hospitality pros. Indulge in $12 handshake cocktails, expertly crafted liquid chef concoctions, delicious late-night hot bites, and chef's choice dozen oysters. More than just a place to unwind, the Lonely Oyster warmly welcomes industry professionals, providing a space where like-minded individuals can connect, relax, and enjoy the camaraderie that comes with the late-night scene. Whether you're looking to kick back after a long shift or simply enjoy the vibrant atmosphere, late night at the Lonely Oyster is the perfect rendezvous for those who appreciate good company and great food and drinks. Don't miss this nightly affair and let the good times roll at the Lonely Oyster. Welcoming back to the LA Food Pod. It's not Father Saul, but rather a man who is very much the nacho cheese to my Mexican pizza. Is Daniel Wargo, aka Forking Around. Daniel, can you tell the listeners where we are today?
We are sitting in the lobby of the Ace Hotel in Brooklyn.
Daniel, we're here today because you and I both attended Taco Bell's annual Live Más live event at the Brooklyn Paramount last night. For those who are unfamiliar, this is Taco Bell's annual event in the style of Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, where they unveil what they're working on and the new things fans can expect in the year to come. Daniel, you're obviously a Taco Bell super fan. Could you set the scene for our listeners of what you and I experienced last night?
I mean, it was an event for the ages. Yeah. First of all, it's a beautiful venue, like a really nice concert hall, and we went in, walked the purple carpet, took some photos as you do.
Yeah.
And then took our seats for the show, which was a show, and they just talked about all their new products. It was a lot of fun, a lot of celebrating, a lot of Taco Bell love.
Yeah. And we got to try the new stuff.
That's the best part. Yeah. For the show. We got to try things.
Let's talk about the new releases they announced.
Sure.
The things that will actually be rolling out on the menu. So, by my count, here's what I remember.
Okay.
And let me know if I forgot anything. But it was the queso crisp taco, basically like a taco with like a cheese frico exterior.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a rolled steak quesadilla, not a burrito, a quesadilla.
Right.
With a steak and a poblano chili in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Chicken nuggets with Mike's Hot Honey Sauce.
Yes.
beefy crunch burrito with flamin' hot Fritos and flamin' hot seasoning in the rice.
That's right, yeah.
Crunchwrap sliders to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Crunchwrap.
I know.
At which point you exclaimed, "I'm so old."
Well, yeah. I remember when that piece of magic came out 20 years ago, apparently.
Wow. Time flies when you're eating Crunchwraps. Yeah. They also announced the Caliente Chicken Cantina menu, so basically a spicier version of that. A Baja Blast pie coming for Thanksgiving, a new flavor of Baja Blast with passion fruit.
Yep.
A 2000s decade menu, and also the rollout of something called Live Moss Cafe, basically like a drinks-focused Taco Bell spin-off.
Yep.
You're obviously, as I said, a super fan. You bleed Diablo sauce.
I do.
Which of these were you most excited by?
I think it's unexpected for me, but I was kind of most excited about the Live Moss Cafe.
No way. I did not expect that.
I didn't either. But then I saw those on there. I saw that they had churro chillers or something like that on that menu. I think that was the name of them. It's all a blur now. But it definitely was churro.
Let's just say we had a lot of the Baja Blast cocktails. That's why it's all a blur.
And I just think, I was like, I need those. That sounds like a better Frappuccino to me.
Yeah, kind of is.
A churro chiller.
That's interesting. I was not expecting you to say
Me neither.
Live Moss Cafe. That's definitely, like, I think the biggest swing. I think it's like opening an entire new restaurant concept.
It's a whole other brand.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know how wide that'll go.
Yeah.
Or if we'll get some of those drinks at a Taco Bell or,
Yeah.
Right now there's one in Chula Vista.
Yeah.
But am I going to drive down there? Probably.
Hell yeah. I honestly, so obviously I'm not like as well versed in Taco Bell as you are.
Yeah.
Like I like a Crunchwrap Supreme as much as the next guy. So when they were like making these announcements, I realized there's kind of like a language to Taco Bell, and I realized I'm not fluent in it. So every time they were saying like, "Hey, we're gonna be releasing the beefy crunch burrito with like flamin' hot," and I'm like, "What did you just say?" So I really needed to like experience it to like get it.
Yeah.
And the three items we got to experience was something new from the Caliente chicken menu, the queso crisp taco.
Yep.
And of course, the rolled steak quesadilla.
Yep.
And when we tried them, I was like, okay, I understand. The rolled steak quesadilla to me was the most exciting. Like,
it was great, yeah.
Because I think when they announced it, I asked you, how is a rolled quesadilla different from a burrito?
Right.
And turns out,
it is.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had the same. I was like, you're right. I don't know what the difference is. And then when you bite it, you immediately go, that's a quesadilla.
Yeah.
Not a burrito.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. It's almost like an all-meat burrito. Like, there's no rice, there's no beans.
Right.
There's just, like, the cheese, the queso, and steak and poblano chili. It's, like, everything you need.
It's all you need.
Yeah.
It was great.
We also tried their new sauces. I really liked that Mike's Hot Honey sauce.
Mike's Hot Honey was really good.
That was good. Perfect accompaniment to these chicken nuggets, which also surprisingly good.
I know, they hit. I don't... they're really good. I was shocked by that. I don't remember the name of it. The really, really hot one. The one we had to sign a waiver for.
Yeah. So basically, that kind of brings me to the other part of this, which is their chief innovation officer, Liz Matthews. She made sort of an announcement of all the things they're testing in the test kitchen that aren't quite on the menu yet, but that could get there.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing, I think, because it kind of like whets people's appetite. They're able to like gauge audience reaction to figure out what they should sort of double down on.
Yeah.
Sorry, double down. That's a KFC thing.
Same company.
Same company. True. And one thing that they announced in that was this purple hot sauce. Obviously, Taco Bell, purple branding. They they didn't discover this, but they sort of like learned about this chili which grows purple. I think it's like a Floridian chili or something.
Yeah, the Floridian chili.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I
didn't even know they could make chilies in Florida.
No, I thought they just made
swamp weather.
Yeah, I thought they just made like. There's a joke here, but I can't figure it out.
I feel like the LA Food Podcast, we can shit on Florida for at least a couple minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I feel
we're
like
safe here.
Yeah. They made a hot sauce with this purple chili, and we got to try that, and it was pretty damn spicy.
It was. Like, I was surprised. Sometimes people always comment on my videos when I do Taco Bell stuff, like saying, "Oh, it's nothing spicy at Taco Bell." Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, well, it's not really it needs to be just as successful in Oklahoma as in Los Angeles.
True.
So, they can't really blow your palate off.
Yeah.
But this one had a nice kick.
This one had a KICK with all capital letters, man. And I just had the, the bomb from Hot Ones. This was not on that level because it also had good flavor, but like it was spicy. Like they did this sort of activation where you basically stood in line, you had to like try it live so they could capture your reaction, and the people in front of us needed a glass of milk afterwards. It was that spicy.
Yeah.
You toughed it out though.
I did. Yeah, I thought when something's really spicy, I hiccup.
Yeah. Oh.
That's like my body just rejecting it.
Yeah.
Entirely. I didn't though. I held it together pretty fine.
Yeah. That coincided with my favorite part of the night, where the actor who was like releasing the sauce to us, he told me that I looked like Hugh Jackman meets Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Actually, it's a pretty good assessment. Yeah.
I told my wife, she did not agree. But you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's right on. You got the everyman of Paul Rudd with just the raw sexual magnetism of Hugh Jackman.
Gee, buy me dinner first, Daniel. Jesus. Look, let's talk about those innovation things. I think these are sort of the like moonshots, let's put them that way, that haven't been made yet, right? But that could be made someday. There were things like Mexican pizza empanadas, poutine nacho fries, tempura fajita fries, and something that you had a pretty strong reaction to, the ube strawberry cookie.
Oof. You know what? I saw that they were there, and I didn't see them there last night.
I know. I didn't have them.
I didn't either. I saw them on someone's story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ube. Taco Bell and ube together makes so much sense.
Is that the one you're most excited for?
Oh, yeah. I'm an ube, like, a simp. Can we say simp?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That actually sums it up rather well, I would say. I like the look of those tempura fajita fries, personally. I just think, mixing the fajita with tempura with, like, a dipping sauce sounds like,
Yeah, I love the idea of the tempura battered bell pepper.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like rather fancy too.
I know.
Not something I would associate with Taco Bell typically.
No.
Yeah.
But I always say this, Taco Bell is they're obviously this restaurant where you can go for food, and especially when you're drunk or whatever, but Taco Bell is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's not a restaurant.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
what really came through to me from last night's event, like they had made another announcement, which was something called fan style, right?
Yeah.
Basically, it's something where you can make your own variation on anything, basically. And let's say that you have sort of like your Taco Bell hack, right? Like you mix a couple sauces, you like add a cheese to something, you make it grilled. You can in the app, I believe, call it like, hey, I'm getting my burrito Daniel style or forking around style, right?
Yeah.
And basically, like, if people order your version, then you can get fan rewards.
Right.
And I think that's just really smart. Like, one thing that, like, really stuck out to me is, like, fast food chains have fans, but Taco Bell has fans, right?
Yeah.
And they recognize that.
Yeah.
And they try to, like, interact with them and, like, make them feel like they're a part of something, right?
Totally, yeah.
It's a really smart move. Clearly it works with you. You're literally wearing a Taco Bell hat right now.
I know. I thought it was going to be on video. So, so I put on the taco, and I have the shirt on too.
Wow. Oh, you got the swag.
Yeah, did you get the swag?
I did not get the swag.
Man.
It's good swag. It's good swag.
It was nice. I think they just are really in tune to what people are talking about.
Yeah.
They are not so uppity with their product.
Yeah.
That it's like they like the play around. You know, they like people to have fun with it. They gave an award to someone for putting creamer in a Baja Blast last night.
Yes, not just anybody. I think it was Taylor Frankie Paul of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
That's right.
What the best show on televition,
I gotta
hands down.
watch.
Yes, yeah.
And I need to try my Baja Blast with cream, but like that's not even a product. I don't even think you can get creamer at Taco Bell.
Yeah, they don't do coffee, do they?
They might have a coffee.
Live Moss Cafe, you definitely can.
That will, yeah. And
yeah.
they're going to actually have that on the menu, the
Which
dirty
is sick,
Baja Blast.
Yeah.
Which is great, but that's a thing that's like, it's just not being so protective of your brand that you're not open to like the fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what they do well.
You know what's funny is like, I've been like wrestling with like, what does like Taco Bell Live Más Live have to do with like Los Angeles restaurants?
Yeah.
You know, like and LA food and stuff like that. Obviously, Taco Bell is like an iconic Southern California brand, so there is definitely that tie-in.
Sure.
But I don't know, man. I think I like learned a lot last night that I think is super applicable to LA restaurants.
Yeah.
Like, for example, today on Good Morning America, I saw that they were talking about fast food chains. Now, all these fast food chains are rolling out value menus because they're trying to like meet consumers where they're at with like, you know, inflation and higher prices. And most fast food chains are struggling right now.
Right.
Like, customers are classifying fast food as a luxury good, which is crazy,
that's
right?
Wild, yeah.
And so Taco Bell, despite that, their sales are up like 8%.
Wow.
And after last night, I'm not surprised because I feel like what Taco Bell does so well is they innovate, they keep innovating, and they bring their fans along in that journey.
Yep.
And I feel like, why can't a regular restaurant do that, you know?
Yeah,
like, let's say you're a sandwich shop or something, like, try new things, you know? Like, obviously specials, but also, like, get weird. And I think you can also, like, bring fans along in that journey, you know, get their input and try to, like, meet them. Like, there's no reason why a sandwich shop in LA that has, like, a following, even though you might not have, like, 1 million fans like Taco Bell, you still have fans and people who really care about you, right?
Totally, yeah.
And so I feel like there's a lesson there for restaurants.
Yeah, no, I think in the, you know, when it comes to this marketing, obviously, like, Taco Bell has this major budget.
Yeah.
This event last night, I can't even guess how much that cost to put
Millions
on.
of dollars.
Millions of dollars, and they had to move it from LA where it was supposed to be held.
Yeah.
And but you know, in that, I do think that like the social media is free, right? And so there's no barrier to entry.
Yeah.
So doing fun things with different products, engaging the community, naming things after people, mix matching, or even, you know, doing something with another restaurant.
Yes.
You know, would be really cool.
Or
to
products
see.
like
Or
the Zabs.
the
They're
Zabs.
doing a collab with Zabs hot sauce and one of their sauces too, which was, by the way, fire. That sauce was really good.
That
It
was
like
great.
a Zabs buttermilk ranch or something like that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Really good. Yeah, no, totally. I think that there's totally lessons to be learned there. And I also think even in this economy, you know, like, I think maybe restaurants are scared because they're like, look, new menu items mean new products and stuff like that we have to source and stuff like that. Not necessarily. I feel like Taco Bell makes new things with the same 3 ingredients all the time. You know, like they just get weird with it. Like the rolled quesadilla.
Right.
It's pretty much nothing new. It's just in a new packaging and it's exciting.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
It's fun to try, even though there's nothing like that's going to change your view of Taco Bell, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, I just wanted to say thank you for making the time for us on this morning after the event, which is probably the hardest morning of all time.
It's rough because I'm still on California time.
Yeah.
And now I'm realizing 9 a.m. is 6 a.m.
Well, you're doing great, my man. Thank you for living Moss all the time, but especially on this trip.
Always.
Daniel, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Luke. I appreciate it.
Dear listener, I made a deal with my wife. She let me start a food podcast and eat ungodly amounts of noodles, pizza, sandwiches, and more under 2 conditions. One is that I never utter her name. The other is that I find ways to be healthy outside of my work in food. Being the fantastic partner I am, I found a few ways to up my health game. I exercise almost every day, I try to sneak in salads for lunch whenever I can, and I only ever snack on healthy foods. The macadamia nut has become an essential part of my daily routine with the best omega-6 to 3 ratios in the nut game, 8 times better than pistachios and 20 times better than cashews. At houseofmacadamias.com, they've got a bunch of different macadamia products that you can enjoy, like savory and sweet snack packs and chocolate-covered snack bars. One of the problems with macadamias I've found is that they can be expensive, but I'm solving this for you, dear listener, because as of today, all you've got to do is head to houseofmacadamias.com and use code LAFood to get a 10% discount on a healthy snack that also happens to be delicious. So what are you waiting for? Head to www.houseofmacadamias.com/discount/LAFood and go nuts. Okay, good to go?
Yep.
All right. Welcoming to the LA Food Podcast, Chef Johnny Lee of Rasarumah. Chef, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. A bit tired from the week.
Yeah. Well, thanks for making time for us on your day off. Look, I start every podcast with a bit of an icebreaker question. What'd you have for breakfast today?
Today I had some leftover the Korean rice cakes, the tteokbokki, and a fried egg.
That's a pretty damn good breakfast.
Yeah, I live in K-Town, so I have
nice.
a lot of Korean leftovers.
Yeah. What's or do you get your tteokbokki like from a local grocery store, or are you making them yourself?
I got it from a restaurant. It's just like takeout, and the portions are always huge, so there's
Good.
always leftovers.
That's not which restaurant?
Yamji Gamjatan next to Sanongdam.
Okay.
Yeah, mainly because they're open at 1 a.m.
That's like a favorite place to go after your shift, or?
Well, there's not too many options these days. The late night options in K-Town aren't as good as they used to be.
Really? I feel like it's still considered one of the better places for late night.
Definitely, but when I used to live in K-Town 6 years ago versus now, there's a lot, because post-COVID, a lot. There used to be restaurants that were open 24 hours.
Yeah.
A lot more. Now there's like maybe only a handful.
Yeah, even like Sunongdan isn't open 24 hours, right?
Depends on the locations. I think the original one still opens till 5 a.m.
Okay, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I think they close 1 hour a day.
So, 23 hours is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Well, Chef, because this is an audio medium and people can't see us unless they're watching on social, can you tell our listeners where we're having this conversation today?
Yeah, we're having it in our restaurant, Rasarumah on Beverly.
It's a beautiful space for people who can't see. I actually had the pleasure of dining here last night. For those unfamiliar with Rasarumah, can you give us sort of the elevator pitch for the overall concept?
Sure. So Rasarumah is a collaboration between Last Word Hospitality and I. It's basically a chance for me to explore maybe my idea of what a modern Malaysian restaurant with a heavy Chinese influence would be, blending my background of being a Cantonese chef, but also with a huge interest in like the food of the Chinese diaspora in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm. This is a pretty unique direction. I can't really think of anything like it in Los Angeles. What inspired you to go in this direction?
For years, I was cooking Hainan chicken, right? And I became known for this dish. And for me, I always wanted to concentrate most on Cantonese food. But then there was also the fact that Hainan chicken is not actually a Cantonese dish. It has Cantonese origins, but the origins were that it was immigrants from like the Cantonese regions moving to Malaysia, Singapore, and kind of adapting the food for the locals there. A lot of Hainanese people ended up working as like houseworkers who are like richer Malaysians or British. That's because the British were importing a lot of Chinese labor to Malaysia just to help grow their colony at the time.
And so that's how Hainanese chicken came to be?
Yeah, so it's interesting because it's debated whether it's considered a Singaporean or Malaysian dish. The origins are a little bit murky because, of course, people fight over where it came from or who. But it's undisputed that it was brought over by Hainanese immigrants.
Yeah.
Hence the name Hainan chicken.
Are there differences in preparation variations?
Within Malaysia, Singapore, they're mostly the same from what I understand. Once you start taking it to like Vietnam and Thailand and other kind of surrounding Southeast Asian countries, then you start seeing variations. The dish is adapted, whereas in Thailand, the sauce is completely different. In Vietnam, it's a bit the same thing. The sauce is a little bit different in Vietnam, and what they use in the poaching liquid, like the aromatics will differ from country to country.
Yeah.
But generally it's like 90% the same recipe.
Sorry to get into Hainan chicken. I know you probably spent the better part of the last decade talking about it. So Rasarumah, as I said, Malaysian. I can think of a couple other Malaysian restaurants in Los Angeles, but you're kind of introducing a new concept, at least definitely at this level of dining, right? Did you have any reservations about that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did. I mean, I still do.
Yeah.
I think when I was conceptualizing this restaurant, a friend who I trust a lot and has a lot of strong food opinions did present me with the idea that like maybe there isn't a Malaysian restaurant in LA because someone hasn't done it yet because there isn't a demand for one or there isn't really a need for one, right? Just because no one's done it yet doesn't mean that there is a need.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it was always where it's like, well, the way I approach food is, if I think it's tasty and if I want to eat it, then I'll try to cook it and sell it.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, the most basic way for me to, is this something we can sell to the public?
Yeah.
There's sometimes chefs get in their head about ideas. They become really obscure, but they become obsessed with the idea of it. But at the end of the day, if it's not something you can crave, I don't think you can sell it. And if you can't make a business out of it, then, it's not going to last.
That's a really good point. Was there a dish or something really craveable that you were like, I think this is the thing I can sell here?
So for me, traveling to Singapore and Malaysia a couple times, there were a couple of things I really felt like we were lacking here was a lot of the delicious hawker food in Malaysia and Singapore. They're not exactly complicated dishes. They're very simple, but just done very well. For example, satay is one thing. It has always been a sore sticking point in America, where most satay is cooked, like in restaurants, is usually overcooked, and the meat quality is not the best, and the cuts they use aren't the best, and the sauce, a lot of times most satay sauces end up being almost just straight peanut butter.
Yeah, right. Or really sweet peanut butter too.
And they maybe don't add in some chili powder and sugar and salt and everything to boost it up. Mm-hmm. That's not to say we do use a little bit of peanut butter in ours, but ours is actually mostly ground peanuts, and then we make our own spice paste using lemongrass, shallots, I guess done the traditional way.
Yeah.
The painstaking way.
We had the pork jowl satay last night, and we really liked the way you paired the pineapple with it. Thought that was a really sort of inspired move. It actually reminded us of al pastor a little bit.
Yeah, so the pork jowl satay is actually something that was a more recent revelation to be on a trip to Malaysia. Mm-hmm. I had started reading about how there's what they call Hainanese satay houses. So most of Malaysia is like a Muslim population, so they don't eat pork, but the Chinese population does. So there are restaurants that are opened by Chinese people and catered for Chinese people where they'll serve pork, and because pork tends to pair well with pineapple. Mm-hmm. And Malaysia being a tropical country, pineapples are available. In Hainanese satay houses, you'll find that they often have a little bit of pineapple puree with the peanut sauce, and you eat that with the pork sautés.
Yeah,
which you don't find in the Muslim satay establishments.
Very interesting. Yeah, I really like that touch, and it's not something I'd seen. I don't know, satay I usually associate with Thai restaurants as far as where you can find them here, but you definitely don't find pineapple when you order those.
Yeah, you don't. I think in Thailand, satays tend to have a very sweet marinated with the meat, so you don't really have that sugar. You don't need that sugary, the sweet element of pineapple, because you have the savoriness of the peanut sauce already, and then whatever satay marinated in Thailand, it tends to have a lot of sugar already.
Yeah, yeah. So this is your first project since closing Pearl River Deli, right? Which was a widely acclaimed, as you said, Cantonese concept over in Chinatown. It obviously got incredible critical reception, but you've spoken about how it was a little bit unsustainable for you as a business to run. What did you learn throughout that experience?
So when I started Pearl River Deli, the idea behind it was I wanted full, complete control. I wanted to make all the decisions, and I didn't want to answer to anybody because I had come off a couple not so great experiences at other restaurants working with partners. And I think, and while it was great, all the upsides are also the downsides. I had to answer to myself, and I had to do everything myself. So yeah. I quickly learned that there's a limit to how much one person can do on their own. And I think I realized if I wanted to operate a restaurant at the next level, I wasn't going to be able to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of saw the way the restaurant scene was going. I saw that it was going to only get tougher for independent restaurant operators. Yeah. With the current business environment and what I first saw coming down the pipeline. And I had already kind of been in talks with Last Word, to look at potential projects while I was still operating Pearl River Deli. And I think it wasn't until this space really came up, and it was kind of aligning with the time when I was already thinking about closing Pearl River Deli, that I think I was okay, I think this is the right move. I gotta get out of that so I can get into something where I can work with people who I do like to jokingly say like who know what they're actually doing. Like, the good thing is like most chefs aren't trained business people.
Yeah.
I'm not terrible at it, but I know I'm not. Like I want to cook, I want to make food, and while I was operating Pearl River Deli, half my time was just spent doing paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like the business administrative side that kind of takes over your life, right?
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, like whatever free time you have is like, well, either can devote whatever energy you have to try to be creative, or you just, like go home, lie down, and defeat. It's difficult to like keep the creative juices flowing when like all that bogs you down, and after that, like you have no energy or willpower to do anymore.
Yeah.
After the work day ends.
I understand that was a very personal project for you, Pearl River Deli, because like you were born in the Pearl River Delta, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of where the name came from. Was it difficult to say goodbye to that project?
It's in many ways, no. Like this is that saying. I forget how it goes, but it's like sometimes you realize the party's over when it's too late. Or something. I'm not sure how that. Something like that. Yeah. And I think restaurants are sometimes the same thing. I've heard like sometimes you realize you should have closed it earlier.
Yeah.
When you hear about chefs that have closed their like well-known projects.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I was already ready to go, and I think if I was ever to come back to it, I wanted to come back to the idea like with better resources, much stronger, and like with a lot better like arsenal of like skills, knowledge, and teamwork. So I think I was ready to like kind of take a break from it. I still want to do Cantonese food in the future, and like some of the Cantonese influences will eventually kind of creep into Rasarumah because a lot of Malaysians of Chinese descent are of Cantonese descent as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I needed to distance myself from it for a little bit, take a break, and then maybe come back a few years later to see if I feel strong about it. So.
Yeah. Now, does that mean we'll be seeing Hainan chicken rice on the menu at Rasarumah?
Ironically, part of closing Pearl River Deli is because I didn't want to make Hainan chicken anymore. But then opening a Malaysian restaurant, well, Hainan chicken's part of the origin story of like Hainan chicken in Malaysia as well. So never say never.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things we'll always keep in our back pocket and be like, well, maybe there'll be a good excuse to do it, or maybe we'll just feel like it, or maybe we actually want to do it.
Yeah.
Eventually, how soon I don't know, but I want to say like it'll happen eventually.
Yeah. It's one of those undeniable things that'll someday happen. Sounds like. So you mentioned the fact that like not every chef is necessarily a trained business person, and now that you're working with Last Word, which is obviously a very renowned restaurant group that successfully runs a lot of different properties around town, how have you found that sort of dynamic to go?
Honestly, it's been great. So working with Last Word, it put me in a position where I realized like I'm working with a lot of people who are just as talented, if not more talented than me, and in a way it's very motivating for me to be like I kind of need to step up and match their level of like ambition and talent so that I can deliver the best restaurant possible. Before when I was running it by myself, I was kind of like a hierarchy at the top of things.
Yeah.
So like everything was kind of driven by me, whereas now I feel like we're driven in multiple directions by multiple people, but we're all working toward the same goal, is to create a great restaurant. But now it's like everyone kind of has their own skill sets they bring to the table, and I can concentrate mostly on the kitchen side and the menu and just the quality of food and things like the design of the restaurant. I kind of, for the most part, we leave it to our partners. I have input and say, but honestly, a lot of the design, like I don't think I would have came up with a lot of these ideas on my own. It was definitely like a collaborative effort, but I really played, to be honest, I played like a minority part in the design. they just had ideas, and I'm like, I like it. It's cool.
It's a beautiful space. There are some really cool touches, and one of my favorite touches is that there's actually photography on the walls that you yourself took, right?
Yes.
Was that from your travels?
Yeah. Photography is a little side hobby of mine.
Yeah. Well,
So, yeah, I when I travel, I like to try to just document it for like my own, memory keepsakes. But I shared the pictures I shared the album with the partners. They really thought we should like at least put some of them up on the walls.
yeah. It's really cool. I think that's a really cool personal touch. It would be cool even if you hadn't taken them because they're beautiful photographs, but the knowledge that you yourself took them. Now, the fact that you have these people who are, helping you do design and take over the business side of the house, how have you seen that like influence your work in the kitchen? Like, have you seen it result in more creativity, freedom? What has that been like for you?
Well, like any partnership, I think you do have to always consider like the other parties, involved. So I can't I do have creative control over the menu. I still have to take into consideration like everything else, like how does it pair with the beverage program, and how is the staff going to are they going to be able to sell this dish? Because a lot of the food is very unfamiliar to them. So it's not as simple as just me having with Pearl River Deli. I would have an idea. Sometimes it'll be on the menu the next day, and sometimes most people don't even know what this dish was, and I'll be like, oh, I'll just make 10 of it, and if it sells out, sells out. That kind of run and gun mentality doesn't work here.
Yeah.
But I think it's working better for me because that kind of restaurant, it doesn't work for everyone. Some people, they want to go to a restaurant and they want to know that certain things are going to be on the menu and they're not going to be sold out.
Yeah.
Most people prefer consistency. We had regular customers that were all about the randomness of the restaurant, right? But
Yeah.
most people aren't like that. If they're going to drive from a distance, they want to know that the experience that they're going to get is kind of like what they read about online.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, or what they saw on Instagram.
Exactly. So, I think working with partners who kind of keep me
Accountable?
Yeah, accountable. I think it's helped me a lot to try to get more organized and be more consistent as a chef,
Yeah. Although that being said, there's still some. I mean, you make it sound like your dishes have to be really buttoned up to fit within the partners, but I have to say, the dishes come across as really out there, and maybe it's just because we're not. I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I'm not all that familiar with Malaysian food, so everything that hit my plate was extremely inventive.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I don't think of it as inventive because these are just dishes inspired by what I've had and what I've eaten in Malaysia. Some of them do have a more modern interpretation, but for the most part, I like to think that everything is fairly traditionally inspired.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking specifically about a salad we had last night that had papadums in there and tofu, I want to say.
Oh, the gado.
Yes, the gado.
So that's so those are shrimp chips actually.
Oh, shrimp chips. My bad.
Yeah, but it's basically traditionally it's it's not even, I'm not sure if I even consider it a salad in Malaysia. So usually it's a dish consisting of a peanut dressing, and then there's things like boiled potatoes, boiled eggs, boiled cabbage. Not too much raw stuff, because in Southeast Asia, certain dishes, you don't eat too much raw lettuce. In Asia, generally in the past, you don't eat too much raw vegetables because the worry of cleanliness back then.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff is and stuff needs to be able to travel and last all day. So boiling it and then cooling it down makes it kind of fairly shelf stable for a day.
Yeah.
So those dishes, and I think traditionally they also might be fried tempeh, the soy protein alternative. And those dishes tend to be kind of heavy.
Yeah.
But we're in California, so you gotta lighten it up. And it makes sense because they're eating for sustenance and they're trying to get full. Whereas here we're trying to create a multi-course experience. So for me, I think having a salad on the menu was very important because again, California, Los Angeles, you need to have a salad.
Every table needs a salad at some point.
Yeah, and it's honestly one of our best sellers. People love it. I think it really. I was to give all my time helping out. Before Poltergeist closed, I was working there for 2 weeks just to help out Diego, and I was watching them sell. Every table get one of those Thai Caesar salads, right?
Yeah,
that everyone loves.
It actually reminds me of that a little bit with the crispy element, especially the shrimp chips.
I mean, there was definitely There's definitely like a little bit of like inspiration there, like I took liberally from him,
I'm sure he's okay with it. He probably never wants to see that fucking salad again. I was actually in the kitchen one of those days when you were there, and it was fun to see you guys going back and forth in those final days. I feel like there was a lot of creative freedom, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of chef where he's like just make it taste good. It's like he could play it different. You could play it a little bit different each time, as long as it looks cool, as long as it tastes good. And if something is like missing or out, he'll just substitute with something else on the fly.
Yeah,
and it's very dynamic the way it works. So, I mean, most people call it chaotic.
Well, chaos cooking. There you go.
yes. He hates that term, but I love to joke. I like to jokingly call him that. The chaos chef.
The chaos chef. I'm sure he loves that. Well, you mentioned earlier we were talking about Pearl River Deli about you kind of saw a little bit the writing on the wall in terms of the way that the restaurant industry was trending for operators and some of the things that were making it so difficult. And obviously every day we're seeing like all these stories of like closures, like Lustig just closed, Gorilla Tacos. Yeah. How have you gone about like designing this spot with your partners to ensure that it's like not just delicious but also sustainable within this environment?
So when I decided to partner with Last Word, I saw how they were operating their businesses. And the thing is, like, they at least have a good understanding of the numbers it takes to make something work. Mm-hmm. And I think they play things very smart. Like, for example, they get great lease deals on their spaces. I think if you have a great lease deal, then at least your rent's not like killing you. Some of these big restaurants, like their rents are insane.
Yeah. Or the builds too, right?
I mean, it all trickles down to the customer, right? If you have to pay this so much of rent, and you have a big space, then you have a lot of labor. Like, I think one thing I learned from Pearl River Deli was when we moved from the original space, which was in Fires Plaza, to the bigger space, we pretty much like almost tripled in size. And for me, I was like, okay, we just need double the employees, right? But the thing is, like, when you double your number of employees, you don't just double the cost. There's an exponential pain of growth where like, just managing that many employees, and then when you have that many employees, it's harder to keep your hands on everything. Mm-hmm. And then things like consistency become an issue. There's a lot of gaps people can fall into, and then you might not be able to keep an eye on all the quality control.
Yeah. And
then you have to hire, or if you want to make sure it's consistent, then you got to hire like a good manager or a sous chef, and you spend even more money on labor.
Yeah.
So like these bigger restaurants, I think like right now labor is the biggest cost. Right? California is like the cost of labor is very high in California. So I think right now you just have to be smart. Small concepts with like lower like overhead and just smaller teams. I think that's the way it has to go for now, because. Like, I think when I look at the numbers I'm running at a huge restaurant, like, I think only guys like, let's say like a Bestia can make it make sense because they've already been around for like 10 years.
Yeah. So
they have their systems in place. They're established. They have a very consistent customer base. But for newer restaurants trying to do big projects like that, I don't know, it's difficult to, like, you really have to have everything lined up perfectly, like the right location, the right concept, the right clientele. Like all that has to line up, and it's very hard to get all that stuff to line up oftentimes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff you don't find out till you open, right? Like, sometimes you think the neighborhood you're going to is one thing, and then you find out the clientele is completely different than what you thought it was.
Yeah.
And what they want is completely different. It's like you want to sell hot dogs, but the customers really want hamburgers. But you didn't know that till they got there, and then they start asking for it.
Yeah.
And then you already spent the money to build a restaurant. Sometimes that's what happens.
Are things that local though? Like, what I mean is, like, obviously you were in Chinatown before.
Yeah.
You're now you've been in was it at the Santa Anita Mall before that?
Yes.
And now you're at in historic Filipino town. Obviously, like, I travel to go eat, right? Like, I go to like any neighborhood, doesn't matter. Yes, do I patronize am I a patron at the restaurants in my neighborhood? For sure. But like, it's not going to stop me for restaurants in Santa Monica. Have you found there to be a big difference from neighborhood to neighborhood that you've operated in?
Generally, yes. So, I mean, people in LA don't really like to drive. Like, most people don't like to go very far from their own neighborhoods. For example, like, we take reservations and we have valet here because we know if someone's coming from the west side, they want to know they're not going to have to look for parking, and they want to be guaranteed a table.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, let's say, driving from Santa Monica here, the time investment can be like 30 to 40 minutes, or even more sometimes, depending on when you come. And I think a lot of diners, they had to make that calculus of like, what's the time investment to get to a place? How much money am I going to spend? You know, like, there's a lot of these micro factors in LA that like determine customer behavior, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying not everybody's insane like me and will just drive to anywhere to eat food? I
mean, I can count on one hand how many times I've been to the west side in the last 2 years. like I've been wanting to go to the river, but I'm like, I'm too lazy to go to Venice. You know, like if you, I don't know, you know, some people, they work a tiring job and then they don't have the energy to think about going that far. Like,
yeah,
I think there's something we said, like every neighborhood has that local run-of-the-mill average pizza spot.
Yeah,
that's been in business for years, and that's kind of like, it's there because sometimes you just default to that easy option and you don't want to think too hard.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why McDonald's exists.
Yeah, every neighborhood needs one. What's sort of unique about historic Filipino town since you've been here?
So one thing I noticed is that we have a lot of older, like more established clientele. I think this neighborhood, if you look at a lot of the homes here, they've, you know, there a lot of people here own their homes. They've probably owned it for like 1 or 2 generations already. Mm-hmm. So you have, compared to like other neighborhoods, I think this is a very highly residential neighborhood. There's actually not too many restaurant options, you know. Mm-hmm. Like when we were working during the daytime and then trying to figure out where to go out there, we're like, well, it's pretty much the option was like either we go to Woon or we had to go to K-Town.
Yeah, there's like a fried chicken place up the street, Keaty's or something. No.
Crawford's?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Crawford's is great, but that's more of a bar. So you want like a restaurant,
right?
But the fried chicken's great though.
Yeah. I'm yet to have it. Well, I obviously, as I said, we ate here. My podcast co-host Saul and I ate here last night, and we had a great time. We had a few different dishes, but I want to hear from you. Like for first-time visitors, what would you say the must-hit dishes are?
So, first-time visitors, I think definitely you gotta go with one of the pork sautés. So either chicken or pork. You know, we do a chicken oyster sauté and a pork jowl sauté. Then we get both if you can, and then definitely get some cold dishes. So the gado, the salad that you had, that's been a very big hit with customers here. Like almost every table has a gado one.
Yeah.
But I think some of the sleeper items would be the rojak, which is the savory fruit salad. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like a nice, refreshing kind of starter. And then if you don't mind the texture of okra, I highly do recommend the okra eggplant dish.
I did not have that, but I love okra.
Yeah, so that's inspired by a Peranakan dish I had in Malaysia. Peranakans are the descendants of Chinese men who migrated to Malaysia and then ended up marrying like local Malay women.
Yeah.
And then their descendants created this fusion food of like Malay and Chinese food.
Is that where laksa comes from as well?
Kind of. There's Peranakan laksa, then there's like a Malaysian laksa, and then there's a Singaporean laksa. It gets a little complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot, because Malaysian food is basically like at least 5 cultures remixed together multiple times over a couple hundred years. And then you add in the colonial influence. I don't know how many countries have been colonized by the, I think it was the Dutch, Portuguese, and English in that order.
Wow, that's quite the combination.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think when the British were starting to colonize, I think Singapore, like America hadn't even yet been founded yet.
Wow.
So like the history is insane, and that's what makes the food so exciting. It's like you have centuries of like this natural fusion that occurred.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the okra dish is basically so we steam okra, and then traditionally it was a steamed okra with this like sambal sauce on top. We do a little bit different. We do steamed okra, but we also add steamed eggplant, just to add a little bit like difference, because I think just having only okra might be a bit overwhelming. And then we top it with our sour sambal. So the sambals that hit the table, one of them you got was the sour one.
Yeah.
So we use that one, and we top it with the okra and the eggplant.
Yeah.
And then with the pickled shallots and crispy dried shrimp.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, I love okra, so.
It's a great dish.
Yeah, I knew that was probably one of the more riskier dishes to put on the menu.
Yeah.
But for me, I think that was important to put on because it is very uniquely like a Malaysian dish.
Did you have to like fight for that one with your partners?
No, it wasn't hard because like they all like okra too.
Okay, nice.
They knew it was potentially going to be a hard sell, and it's not. I mean, obviously it's not the best seller, but it actually sells decently well, and the response to everyone that tries it, they all love it.
Yeah, I think our favorite dish last night. Well, we had a few. We really like the garo garo, the satay, of course. But I think that rendang really hits, especially with the roti. It's just a nice main to have.
Yeah, it's funny because like originally on the conceptualization menus, rendang wasn't even on the menu. Because in my mind I was like, oh, that's a bit so basic. Like every Indonesian, Malaysian restaurant serves a rendang.
Yeah.
But then I thought more about it. I was like, well, I'm really good at like cooking meat anyway, so. And I always like to use interest. And then one of my meat suppliers was like, "Hey, we got these Wagyu beef cheeks that like no one really buys," and I love using offcuts of meat that no one else uses.
Yeah.
Mainly because you get a better price, but also because I like to utilize interesting cuts that are different. Like serve something a little differently.
Yeah.
And I love beef cheeks, so braising them rendang style just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it really works. I mean, beef cheek is kind of the perfect cut for it when it hits the table, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it braises beautifully. Like, it's like, ideally it's like just fork tender. You don't need a knife.
Yeah. It's roti tender. It's not even fork tender.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hey, Chef, you've been extremely generous with your time. A few final questions for you, but one is when you think about the future of Rasarumah, what's your hope for it?
I mean, my hope for Rasarumah is that this is something that I guess I haven't really been able to achieve before in other restaurants, is to have a place that can really outgrow me and can become a mainstay restaurant in LA, whether I'm part of it or not. Not to say I'm planning on leaving anytime soon. But, like, for example, like, I think I will love if this restaurant ends up becoming a signature restaurant in LA, even without, and, like, people don't mean, like, 5 years from now, my name's not even like being plastered on the media. It's just Rasarumah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who the chef is, but you just know it's a good restaurant.
Yeah.
I would love it to be kind of like a mainstay LA, something I can like look back and be proud of. Like, hey, I helped this restaurant go. It's still going with or without me.
Yeah.
Like a bit of like something like a legacy here in LA.
That's awesome, man. That's really, you don't hear that often. I feel like. Oh, well, you're kind of going against a stereotype. I feel like the stereotype is chefs are so egotistical and it's about them. You're like, fuck that. This is good. As long as it succeeds with or without me, I'm happy.
I don't really like being out in the spotlight too much. I don't, when I'm ready for the dining room, like, sometimes I feel like customers want to talk to me. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of busy. I need to get back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Get back to work, like, I just kind of want to like keep my head down and cook.
Yeah.
But, the job of being owner means I have to be out there and promote the restaurant.
Yeah.
Ideally, if I don't need to do that one day, then I probably won't. If the restaurant can promote itself without me, then that would be ideal. Then I can just kind of like just hang in the background. And I like to joke that like I'm a guy that I just want to like tighten the screws when no one's looking and keep things going.
Yeah. I love that. Optimization too. If you can run itself, that's efficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, last couple questions for you. They're more like just sort of quick fire questions, but one is, I'd love to know what your 3 favorite restaurants in Los Angeles are right now.
In no order, and just to state, if I don't mention it, it's not because I don't like it, because I have a lot of friends who I do like, but I guess the way if people are coming to LA and they want to know where to eat, the places I would highly recommend sending to is Pizzeria Say. I just really love what William's doing, and I've been going to this restaurant for since they opened, and seeing the continual improvement of the food over time, and seeing what he's striving for. I really respect what he's doing. You know, when I talk to him about his pizza, he always talks oh, it could be better. It's not quite where I want it. And I'm like, dude, this is really good. You know, and you know, he's moving to a bigger space where he can create dough in a more controlled environment. Because I didn't realize I don't think he has a proofer or anything for his dough. So he does it all kind of
room temp
naturally. And I'm like, that's amazing.
That is crazy.
So when he moves to his new location, bigger location, he's going to be able to offer more different types of dough at the same time on the same menu, and play around a little bit more. I think so. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'll be there day one. And then Holy Basil is another favorite of mine. Thai food is also one of my favorite cuisines.
Yeah.
And I spent some time cooking it too because I helped open Sticky Rice back in the day.
Oh yeah.
At Grand Central Market. So. And yeah, I've known Joy and Dill for quite some time now, and I really love what they do. They really have fun with their specials. They're always kind of tinkering. Dill's always trying to learn just more how to cook food better. You know, he's always experimenting. On his days off, I see him go to workshops and learn how to ferment food and stuff.
Wow, it's dedication.
Yeah, and you know, and somehow they run this downtown location at Water, and then they're trying to open go to Santa Monica now.
Right.
And he still does all this stuff on the side. I'm I don't know where he finds time for all this.
Yeah, you're chill out, Dale.
Yeah, so Holy Basil has been great. Off the top of my head, I think Azizam is a great one too.
Yeah.
To be fair, I did used to host their pop-ups in the early days.
Oh,
so
nice.
There might be a little bit of a bias there, but. No, I met Cody when I was kind of moonlighting at Joy for a few weeks a couple years ago just to make some extra side money.
Yeah.
And I met Cody there, and you know, and then after I opened Pearl River Deli, he was looking for places to host his pop-ups. So at the time, I would let people do pop-ups when we were closed, just to give them opportunity to do something. I wouldn't even charge them much money, just to because I thought it'd be fun, and if food looked good, I wanted to try it myself. Yeah. And you know, seeing the evolution of his food from his pop-up days to now, I think it's been really great. The bread they serve, the barberry bread or whatever, it's gone through a couple of iterations, but I think right now, where it's at, it's just really great bread.
Dude, you're making me want to go there for lunch right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I like the most about their food is that it's very tasty, but also feels very healthy, you know?
Yeah, wholesome.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Persian home cooking.
Yeah. Those are 3 great shouts. You heard it here, dear listener. If you want Chef Johnny's recommendations, those are them. And of course, Rasarumah. Last question that we ask all our guests, but when you look back at your journey, what are you most proud of? And don't say the Hainan chicken.
Well, I was never going to say that anyway. Most proud of? I mean, I guess the thing I'm most proud of is I can say that I've have only cooked in LA, and I only really want to cook in Los Angeles. You know, I've pretty much have lived here since I was 1 year old. Other than that, being born in China. So for me, I'm a lifelong Angelino, and you know, I love LA restaurants. I love the city, and you know, I just love being a part of it. And having when I closed Pearl River Deli, I was kind of really over it. I'm so happy to be done with this. But then when we got all these on social media, we got all this outpouring of people that were so sad and they were heartbroken and were closing. A lot of them said what it meant to them. And I was like, oh wow, kind of sucks. I took away something from them that I didn't realize how much it meant to some people. So you know, I think having created something that meant that much to people was a bit. Definitely was very satisfying and made me happy to have been a part of LA scene in that way. So the hope is to create something again here that's a bit more sustainable and has longer legs. You know.
Yeah. Well, Chef, we'll be rooting for you that Rasarumah becomes just that, and we will be posting links to Rasarumah and the social media all over the show notes. But I just wanted to say thank you for making time on your day off to join us.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guests, Johnny Lee and Daniel Wargo, for making the time for us. Thank you to you, dear listener, as always, for listening. If you like what you heard here today, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a rating, a review, subscribe. Seriously, all that stuff means the world to us. We'll be back next week with another epic episode. But if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and even our website at the LA Countdown. That's TheLACOUNTDOWN. You can also find us on Instagram at LA Food Pod. That's LAFOODPOD.